Brian, so when you go back and you play that fight out in your head, is that pretty much how you saw it playing out? Or did you think it was going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit more involved from Gray's end?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wasn't quite sure what he was going to do. Thank you very much. Obviously he's a very high level wrestler, and he's a pretty decent sized guy coming down from at one point being a pretty big lightweight. And I know he likes to box, so I felt that from his perspective, almost very difficult for him to take me seriously, probably. With the amount of MMA experience he has, the size difference, and. I think that honestly plays into my favor because I think I was able to show him a much better striker than people give me credit for a little bit, and all that's down to my friends and my coaches, Faraz, Kenny, Ton, and the Thompson family. But basically, I try to put him, in either the fire or the frying pan, and he chose the frying pan, unfortunately for me, because I'm a lot better at the fire. But I guess trying to force the ground, created the situation that I needed to land those kicks, and he elected to stay out there for the fight, and that's kind of on him.
Yeah, kind of speak to those kicks. Is that something that you felt comfortable that you were looking for to do to go forward? Is it just his style coming at you that it just kind of played into that?
Well, I mean, if he's going to sit at that range, then I think that's kind of those are the tools of that range. I guess imagine you had kind of like a rifle with a scope on it, a shorter rifle, a shotgun, a handgun, and then like a rock. You kind of have, depending upon how far things are or not, you kind of pick one that suits the distance, which is what we tried to do. Ordinarily I would let my hands go a little bit more, but realistically, Gray's a very tough guy, but at the same time he's not the world's most diverse fighter, so I didn't feel that I needed to really do anything. I split him open with a check hook on the way in the first round. But as far as I was concerned, doing anything involved with the hands, even if I thought I could win or do well, which I think I would probably be fine, certainly puts him where he's very, very dangerous. As he's shown in the past, and that was not something that I was looking to do.
Some of those, I guess maybe some people consider unorthodox sort of submission attempts. You kind of rolling into the little ankle locks and stuff. Is that something that you've always done? Is it something that you think kind of keeps you stand out? It's very it's amazing to watch.
Thank you so much. The guy. It's funny because in the jiu-jitsu community, everyone's got they're all excited about leg locks now because people have an Instagram account. So people go, "Oh my God, leg locks!" When the reality is they've always been there. And I first saw that being done by a guy named Masakazu Imanari. In Japan, he was definitely a very successful MMA fighter and a very, very good lead locker. Although, and it's just, I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for guys like him, but looking back, that was a very, very, very feature portion of his game, and he didn't do a ton of other things. I try to do my best to take the next step because, unlike a lot of the guys that may, be footlocky, I also bring, truly elite level jiu-jitsu to the table. So if I get on top of you, you're in a lot of trouble. It just hasn't happened yet, but it's like the way that you watch BJ Penn and people like that in the past, when they mount people, it's a little bit different. And you watch the Damian Maias, I try to come up with a way to make that happen as safely as possible because unlike grappling, which is a control sport, MMA is a damage sport. And it really is in your interest, if you can, to get through these fights as cleanly as possible. And fortunately, at least in this instance, I was able to do it.
Gray Maynard, probably a really, really big name. Has this got to be maybe the biggest win of your career? And what do you think with a win like that places you in the division?
Well, certainly in MMA, it's the biggest win that I've ever had. It's an honor to compete against a guy like Gray. He's someone that I've watched for a very, very long time. He's fought for the title on multiple occasions at the weight class up. I would not be sitting here if it weren't for guys like Gray. I have immense respect for him. To have gotten the opportunity to compete against him, much less to, come out with a good result, is fantastic, particularly because I kind of got to pick up, get a little bit of payback from one of my close friends and coaches, Kenny Florian, who helped me, immensely for this fight as well. But I can't say where it places me. All I really care about is fighting the best people possible. If they would give me somebody in the top 10, I'd fight them. I would love that. I need time to continue developing, and with friends like Kenny and Faraz and Ton, and the Thompson family, I know I can do that. But I'm not going to be around in MMA for a very long time, realistically, and I didn't come here to fight bums. So basically, the sooner I can get in there against tough guys like Gray and stay in there, the happier I'll be.
Was Gray talking to you in there at some point?
Yeah.
What was he saying?
He was expressing a little bit of frustration, which, I guess from his side of things, as far as I'm concerned, he's a very high-level competitor, both as a wrestler and also as an MMA fighter. If that sort of thing affects me, then that's on me. He's trying to do what he needs to do to get me to come out of my game, and without him having to do anything about it. If I can use words, if you watch the way Nick Diaz talks to people, and Conor McGregor too, he'll get you swinging on him when you shouldn't, and they will make you regret that choice. As far as I'm concerned, that's a portion of competition, and I certainly don't hold that against Gray. He was maybe expressing frustration, but as far as I'm concerned, it could have been tactically based as well. I just kind of replied in kind. He's more than welcome to come on down to the ground if he's feeling brave. He elected not to do that. Were I him, I would have given it a shot at a certain point, because I felt like he was pretty cleanly behind on the scorecards, and in that situation I would sooner go out on my shield or risk going out on my shield than not. But it's a decision we make, and who knows, maybe in a different fight he catches a big hook or a right hand towards the end and gets a good result that way. But I guess not this time.
With this frustration growing at the end of the fight, we all were looking at him saying, hey, just dive in, go do something because you're losing. Did you expect him to just go balls out at the end and just dive in and
Yeah,
something?
honestly, I was expecting him to either try to completely take my head off or on the feet, and then he would have been open for the rolls. He really elected to not throw those big punches, which is some of those things, one of the things that, of course, makes him very dangerous. And I think that's one of the interesting things about that sliding into guard, rolling in. If you want to sit down and try to put somebody, in a very difficult situation, impact-wise on their head, you are going to be vulnerable. Your legs have to settle to the ground. He elected to not do that, so that wasn't there. At the end of the fight, I thought he was going to do it, or I thought he was going to jump on me. That's why I was sitting up just a little bit, but I was like sitting up a little, and I was going, maybe I should lean back just a bit. I'd love to not have my face get knocked all the way over that way if he decides to change his tune. But it was weird. I think sometimes people get frustrated. It reminds me of the fight that I had in the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, where the other guy, Artem Lobov, very tough guy, someone I like a lot on the personal level and respect a lot as a fighter, but he also kind of just elected to sit there and call it a night rather than go for broke, which is something that as a competitor, frankly, I don't understand. But it's a choice people make, and I'm sure that going forward, maybe they'll make a different one.
Did he say anything to you after the fight? Did he grumble?
He wasn't the happiest guy in the universe, but that's not how I would. I'm not going to say that, if I've lost plenty of times in my life, and I'm not going to tell you that I would throw a party, but I try to keep it in check. If I need to go have my moment, I'll sit under the bleachers or something. But, he was a little bit upset, but the reality is that I look like this, and he looks the way his face looks right now. So.
There was that moment when you guys were kind of locked up on the ground. You had his legs, and he actually kicked you in the face. Did that stun you? Were you a little surprised?
No, I got I've been told that I have a thick skull my entire life. I think figuratively usually, but also maybe literally. I'm not sure. So that didn't stun me, but I didn't appreciate it. That's why I appealed to the referee. I was like, hey. And I didn't kick him. Yeah, I smoked him in the collarbone when we were on the ground. That was managed to not hit him in the head. That was good. I wouldn't have wanted to accidentally hit him illegally. But yeah, that was. I felt like I was like, ooh, I'm going to get his leg up. Nope, no, I'm going to get kicked in the face. Back on the feet. So that's kind of how it played out.
And I guess finally for me, you hoping? I know it's been a year since you fought. I mean, you hoping to get how many fights next year? Are you hoping for?
I can't say. I'd love to give you a number. I just want to fight tough people. If I had to wait 12 months to fight Gray, it was all worth it. Again, the positive result, fantastic. But just getting the opportunity, you get more out of one match against a guy like Gray than you do out of 10 matches against lesser opposition. That's been my experience in jiu-jitsu as well. And the times that I look back on very fondly, win, lose, or draw are the ones that I got in there against people that were a very, very serious threat, and in the same way that Gray is and was. So. I'd like to fight a couple times next year, but like I said, I've got a series of things going on, and we'll just kind of have to play it by ear.